Right, so this is clarifying what each thing means as we go through here.
Or
So these
the
are
probability of C would have to be the same as the probability of C, given that A
all
already
organized
occurred.
in one paper for you to review.
Probably easier to look
So
at this
if
one
I
because
ask you
I
to
don't really
find
sound like
average
it.
velocity,
The probability of C
all I'm
was
asking you to do
0.2.
is find the slope.
The probability of C given A was
How do we
0.2.
do that?
So are they independent?
Yep, you have to have two ordered pairs.
So independent, you're checking the regular probability is equal to the conditional probability. Saying knowing one thing happened didn't change the other one. All right, so if I put a question like this
So
on
I
your
ask you to
quiz,
find
can we handle that?
average velocity.
Right.
I have given you those points.
Next step,
We need to find the
you
slope.
guys despise these long paragraphs, I know. So let's
All right.
take a look.
If I ask you to
In
find
order to be accepted into a graduate program,
velocity,
applicants must get a qualifying score on the
I
GRE
am asking
and have an
you
acceptable GPA.
what your velocity is.
From past experience, an admissions counselor knows the probability of having an acceptable
That's when we
GPA
had
is 0.83. So I like to write down things as I come to them. Probability they have the
Velocity
GPA,
is still a slope, so we're still finding all these average velocities, so we have to have the order pairs.
and that
Slope.
of those with an acceptable GPA,
And
the probability
we're
of getting
looking
qualifying
at
score is
what number your
0.64.
slope approaches. That's
So we already know
average
they have the
velocity
GPA,
slope
so that's the
between
probability
two
of the
points.
score.
Instantaneous is asking for
given
slope at a
The
particular
GPA is high enough. And that was
Right, we had to
0.64.
get, like, it would be between 2 points.
We want the
So
probability they
have
get accepted,
one
and
point
they get
that we can
accepted
do
if
and
what
all
is
we
true?
have is we find the slope between them. We come up with that if we need to. It's on the border.
We have the score
So,
and,
that's the
The
difference
GPA.
between
so the
average.
probability of getting accepted.
Average is just slope, instantaneous
and
is
the
what do
probability
those
of both of
slopes
these
approach.
things are good enough.
Alright, if we look at the next one, rules for continuity.
So if you're stuck, look at your
So,
formula sheet.
these are
We're
the
looking for
three
something involving
requirements.
these. We have an and,
The
we have a
first one,
conditional, we have a
If our
regular
function
one.
is continuous,
Isn't that
it
the
must
probability of B
exist.
and F?
So for an example, if I gave you like
Plus
this
probability
graph,
of B times probability of F given.
does this function exist at 2?
And I told you that there's another variation of this formula. It could be F times
Does
probability of
not
F.
exist, so it
Given
is
F.
discontinuous.
Basically, whatever condition you have, that has to be the other
The
probability.
second
you
rule,
find.
the limit
So if I
has
have
to exist.
GPA as a
So
condition,
for instance,
I would
the
have
case
to
where
take
the
it
limit
times
doesn't
the
exist.
probability of the GPA. So, probability to
If I
have
look
the score
From left and right,
and
they are approaching
GPA
different
needed.
numbers.
is just probability to have a
Does not
GPA.
exist. So it is
The probability to
discontinuous.
get the score given that they have a GPA.
At
So we just multiply.
X equals 1. And the final thing, the function has to be equal to the limit. So we might have a case where we do have a limit and we do have a function value, but they don't match
Is that
up,
okay?
it is a discontinuity.
So when I give you something like that, start looking at your numbers
Equal to the
and
function.
writing down. This is the probability of what?
Just
So you kind of have a list.
at negative.
All right, let's try this. In a game, you draw cards from a deck containing 3 black
So,
cards and 5
Those are
red.
the rules, and I tried to illustrate what
To
would
win
find.
another turn, you must get 3 black cards in a row.
Is that okay?
To win the game, you must get 5 red cards in a row. Find the probability of
You have to pay
winning
attention
another
to the
turn.
ones that we
So
can
winning
make
another
mistakes
turn,
because you're
what
not
does that
reading
mean has to
carefully.
happen?
If I tell you the rule, you're telling me one of these 3 things. If I ask for the type,
You need
then you're classifying.
black
So, rules are the limit exists, the function
and
exists, or
black.
equal. The types are
And
infinite,
means
jump,
what?
and removable. So
All right, what's the probability of getting a black card? Assuming we only have these, the 3 black and the 5 red in my deck. So it would just be 3 out of it. All right, if you just took out a black card, then how many black cards are
It's
left?
still infinite. What does a jump?
And then, now we've taken out another black card, so the 3rd card is,
So we have a piece, we have another piece. We are physically jumping from one part to another. And what does a removable discontinuity look like?
Just a whole.
Okay, can you tell me from an equation, how do you know there's an infinite discontinuity?
Okay,
So
how
if
do
you
we
have
win the
something
game?
like,
How do you win
well,
the game?
removable is when something cancels. So if we had,
Red, red,
yeah, so like,
5 times.
well, I jumped over here because somebody made a comment about it.
Okay,
Something
and
like
these multiply.
this.
What's the probability the first one is red?
That's removable.
And the second
Infinite,
one?
yeah, something
third
where
one?
it won't cancel. We still have a
Fourth
zero
one?
on the denominator. That gives us the vertical
And
asymptote.
the last one.
What gives us a piecewise, or a jump? Maybe a piecewise. So where
What did you guys get?
you have those pieces. Now, there is a case where we have a,
Okay, what's the probability of not winning
or sorry,
anything?
a removable from. a
When would you not win
Would
anything?
that happen?
You
Yeah,
don't
if one was
get
equal and the other
another
was not,
turn or win the game.
instead of the left.
So what's the
hand.
easiest way of finding it?
All right.
1 minus. These are the
Any
two ways you
questions
can
on
win.
that?
So find probably you don't win is 1 minus each of those.
So limits. I try to kind of summarize all the stuff we know about limits. The formal definition is if the absolute value of x minus a is less than delta, then the absolute value of f of x minus l is less than epsilon. So you need to know
Pretty
that.
simple game, but a 96%
For your
chance that you would
Oh, I
win.
didn't realize that was the if.
Yeah, the if then is your formula. So remember when we did those, we had to write our goal, then we found our delta.
Because the two ways you can win is win another
When
turn,
we are doing a limit.
So that's the
as x
first
is
one.
approaching a number,
or
we
you could win the whole
plug it
game.
in.
So we
And
subtract.
we can as long as it's defined. So our
So
different
it
strategies.
looked like we
plug in,
subtracted the same thing
not
twice, but only because
factor
those
or
probabilities
reduce.
were equivalent.
If you have something that's radical, so a lot of times we multiply by a
Any
conjugate,
questions?
and sometimes we had to use reason. So there were cases where I was maybe approaching from the left or right and we had to reason.
Look at this one. I've got a few
If you
conditions.
have a limit at infinity,
Sir,
you need to be able
a
to plug
survey was taken asking
Get
if
to that
middle
point.
school
You had to
students
divide
like
and multiply
the
by
current
however
class
many.
offering.
Sometimes we had to multiply by a conjugate first.
So I want the probability of yes
Then
given
factoring.
fit. When you have a conditional, that's everything for us. That's our denominator. So
Yeah.
I am only looking at the fifth graders. How many are there?
that in our epsilon deltas.
So my numerator still only looking
Okay,
at those.
different
How many said
Types
yes?
of asymptotes, vertical is x equals a number, it's just whatever makes the denominator 0. Horizontal is y equals a number. You have to do both. The limit as you approach infinity and positive infinity. One and
Probability
If it had more than that,
of
it wouldn't have been.
no. So is there any conditional here?
Alright,
No. So
and then
I'm
let's check
taking
our reasons.
everybody.
If you have the limit as x approaches infinity of 1 over infinity, what's
Is
that?
it
do?
228?
0. You have
Okay.
one piece.
Out of everybody,
More and more and more.
we want the
What if
no.
it's approaching negative infinity? Still 0. Still getting closer to 0 from the negative. Really wish I
How many did you say?
1 divided by 0 from the right. So first of all, if I'm dividing two positive numbers, it is positive. 1 divided by a smaller and smaller and smaller number.
Bigger and bigger and bigger. Is this one supposed to be negative?
Oh, yeah. Typo. Sorry about that.
Probability of.
Okay, if you have a positive
Yes.
divided by
Do I
negative,
have a
our answer is
conditional?
negative. So,
So it's
1
out of
divided by a smaller
everyone.
and smaller number.
We want only the ones that were 8th graders and said yes.
A negative infinity times a positive
So
infinity.
that's just the 41.
What about infinity minus 1?
Positive.
Still gonna be approaching infinity, right?
Big
I mean,
number.
it's still really big numbers, but these are not like solid math equations. These are reasoning skills.
The probability of
Okay.
A given
So
yes.
this is kind
So
of
my
your summary.
condition,
You don't look at
I
anything else
know
before you
the
come in.
person answered
Look at
yes. So
Okay,
how
and I
many?
got all
of
the
those
important
are-
stuff sorted out for
So
you.
those are the only people I look at.
Now
How
let's
many
go
of them were
to the
8th graders?
problems you asked about. On the front page, we already covered difference between average and instantaneous velocities, limit, oh, never mind.
I got
What if I changed it?
Oh,
and
okay.
made the probability of yes
So
given 8?
you guys don't have any
What we
questions on
changed?
the whole first page?
Are we supposed
My
to?
denominator is
Just
never
checking.
just the 8.
Evaluating over limits, everything we're good?
And
On
I'll go
five,
how many
A
said
is
yes?
3 halves, B negative infinity, C negative 5 over 54, and D is 1 half. Need to look at any of this?
Once I figured out.
What if I said
That's fine.
yes given they were not a fifth grader?
It's just our little if X minus A.
Your denominator would be everyone except the fifth grader.
5E is infinity,
Alright,
E 1/3,
Are the
F
conditionals
negative
better?
infinity, H negative 2. Any questions about those?
let's look at this one. I am decorating pumpkins for a
Number
party.
6, you should get a removable
65% of the pumpkins are
five,
carved. So the
infinite, and
probability
negative
it
three.
is
Is
carved
that okay? You guys don't wanna go
is
for
0.65.
number 6.
73% are carved or painted. So probably carved
7, where's your discontinuity?
or painted.
What type? Okay. Number 8.
0.73. If 21% are painted, so probably painted,
Okay, so my function
0.21,
is
what percentage are both?
square root of x. X is less
So
than
we
0.
need a formula that has the individual ones, the and the or. What formula is that?
3. X
Mhm.
minus 3.
The probability of A or, alright, sorry, your formula
So let's
sheet
graph
says E and F, doesn't it?
When we
Probability
graph
E
piecewise, I told you
or
to make
F
a chart for each
is the
piece.
probability of E plus probability of F minus probability of E and F. So E or F, carved or painted, is 0.73. E, probability
So
of
for the
carved is
first one.
0.65 plus the probability of painted,
We have to
0.21
plug in 0,
minus the probability of both.
and then we need things smaller than that, so maybe -1, -2 wouldn't be nice, but -4 would be. Oh, I wrote this down wrong, didn't I?
So subtract over the 0.86.
Okay, so if you plug in a 0, opposite of 0 is 0, square root of 0
Right,
is,
and negative 1, so
but
you
that
get
wasn't an equal to, so that's an over.
0.13.
If I put in -1, opposite of -1 is positive
Does that
1,
make
square root
sense?
of 1 is 1. If I put in -4, opposite of -4 is positive 4, square root of 4 is.
Find the probabilities C and D. You guys try this one on your own.
That's the first piece. Second piece, we have to put in 0 and 3. So 3 minus 0 is 3. That's close because it has equal to. You put in
Is
2,
that the
3 minus
exact
2
same
is
formula as last one? Probability,
3 minus
you're looking at your
3,
formula
that one
sheet, it
was
says
open.
E or F equals probability of E plus probability of F minus probability of E and F. Replace your E and F with C and D,
Points are in the right
so you've got it.
And then the last one, start at 3.
So we
Again,
solve
open.
and we get that the probability of
Things
C
bigger.
and D is
So 3 minus 3 is 0, square root is 0.
0.
So we already have nothing circled there. 4 minus 3 is 1,
Is
square
there
root is
anything
1.
else you guys want me to go over?
5 minus 3 is 2, square root is 4. Okay. So now, I'm asking you to answer a lot of questions about this graph. So B, the limit as we approach 0 from the right. So if I'm coming into 0 from the right-hand side, so numbers bigger than 0, what y value are we approaching? If we approach 0 from the left, so we're still getting close to 0, but from the negative direction, so there my y's are going to 0. So the overall limit at 0, the left and right don't match, does not exist. Okay, E, the limit as we approach 3 from the left. So I'm coming into 3 from the left-hand side. So this y value is going to As I come in from the right, so I'm approaching 3 from the right, it's going to. So overall, left and right at the same time, they do match up at 0.
This flies not to make me
I-
bonkers.
Yeah, I'm really glad it migrated
If it
away
gets
from me.
nasty, I'm killing it.
Samantha had it for a little while, and then it came to
It's
me.
just
Right on
Okay.
my phone. When I'm in the restaurant.
I was gonna get it.
Alright. Number 9, do we need to go over that?
I did a Carson and I
Intermediate value theorem. You have to tell me it's a polynomial, so it's continuous. If you don't state that it's continuous, you have proven nothing.
Do we have to say that it's a polynomial?
You just have to tell me it's continuous. Then you plug in 1, so you get -2. You plug in 2 and get 25, so then you say it was continuous, the sign changed, so it equals 0 in between.
What if I got 41, but it's still positive, sign still changed.
Calculation.
Wait, is it 2 to the 5th minus 2 to the 3rd plus 3 times 2 minus 5?
Oh,
Uh-huh.
And I got 15. Hold up.
I put a 5 in instead of a 2 at some point.
I got 25.
What my calculator do that?
Maybe it's a skill issue.
Probably me.
That's what I was saying.
Did the guy give anyone pearls
Yeah.
today? He did not give me pearls.
Well, you have to ask for them.
Oh, I didn't know you had asked me.
Pearls.
I got pearls.
What are pearls?
Pearl necklace?
Yeah, people might have to wear their
Necklace.
necklaces though, so I don't know.
I just wore mine regularly.
Yeah, I wore my necklace.
Hers is being
I'm
so
Okay.
serious.
Such a girly girl.
So, number 10, we want the average velocity. Okay, look at the other little sheet. Sorry, Audrey got to fly now. Bonus points for anyone that kills that fly.
Oh, I'm going after it.
Wait, if I catch it, can I get extra bonus points?
Oh, yeah.
With chopsticks, can I get like infinite bonus points?
Mr.
Oh,
Miyagi
Mr.
over here.
Alright. Average velocity means we have to find what?
Slow.
I gave you an interval. Those are both your x, or in this case, your t values. So you have to plug them in to get your y. So if I put in a 1 plus 2 plus 1/4, so 3.25. If I put in a 3, 1 plus 6, so we're at 7. Plus 9/4, so
9.25.
What?
Is that what you got?
Yes. Just get it in the fraction form.
Yeah. Oh, 37/4. Yeah. That would be the same.
so y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we get 6/2, which is 3. So average velocity, it is velocity, so meters per second. Because it told us it was displacement in meters, where t is in seconds. B, instantaneous velocity when t equals 1. We already know the point when t is 1 is 3.25. Okay, instantaneous is asking me what all the average velocities approach. Average velocity is a slope, so we have to think, okay, if I were to find the slope, it would be y minus 3.25 over x minus 1. So this was like the first day of this section.
Yeah.
So we had to make 2 tables because we have to approach 1 from both sides. And we need to come in smaller than 1. And bigger than 1. How do I get my y on each of these? Plug it into the equation. So I would not be able to ask you to do all of this on the test because obviously this requires a calculator. But
What if
I might ask you like to describe to me how you would set it up, or I might give you a table and ask you what it means.
Is it wrong of me whenever I just did like same thing, 0.9, 0.99, but like approaching 1 from the left side, approaching 1 from the right side, and plug it in straight into the equation?
What do you mean straight into?
like I just plugged 0.9 into 1 plus 2 times 0.9.
So you didn't ever actually state what x's you were plugging in?
No, I did. I stated 0.9, 0.99. I just didn't find the line because I just.
Put them to. Yeah, if you just didn't write out the y's, but you had to calculate them in order to get your slope. Okay, so then my slope, I'm doing each of those, so 3.0025 minus 3.25 over 0.9 minus 1. Okay, is everyone with me so far?
Oh, we're just, subtracting from the original points that we got.
Yeah, basically now I'm putting them in here. This would be 2.5, and this one is also 2.5, because I didn't keep a lot of decimal places. So from this side it appears it is approaching 2.5. So we can see when our x's are getting close to 1, the slope is approaching 2.5.
I got this correct and I didn't even do it right.
So these, you again plug your x's in to the original equation to get the y's.
Oh, I didn't do it right. Never
And
mind.
then you have to do the slope between them. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we get 2.525. And again, because I didn't keep a ton of decimal places, these are going to 2.5. So from that, we could say our instantaneous, the velocity at 1, is 2.5 meters per second. So you need to know that average, you're just finding one slope between the points. Instantaneous is taking a bunch of slopes and looking at what they approach.
I did it right up until right before finding slope.
Yeah. All right, is that one okay?
Yeah.
Number 12.
Oh, that's just.
So this is the formal definition. Limit x approaches 10 of 3 minus 4/5 x equals -5. So our goal is the definition. If the absolute value of x minus a is 10, is less than delta, then the absolute value of my function minus my limit, minus negative will make plus 5, is less than epsilon. Okay, so step 1, we have to find delta. And we do that by working backwards. So we start with that last statement. Okay, so if we combine my terms, I have a negative 4/5 x, 3 plus 5 is 8. All right, I know I'm trying to turn this into x minus 10. If you factor out the negative 4/5, when you factor out something, it's like dividing. So it's 8 divided by negative 4/5, or 8 times negative 5 over 4. And what's that give me?
I thought you took out a negative.
But now I have to take that negative 4/5 out of my absolute value, and the absolute value will turn it positive.
I thought I just forgot there was an absolute value right there.
How would I move that to the other side?
Divide it.
Divide by 4/5, or same as multiplying by 5/4. So it's 5/4 epsilon, or 5 epsilon over 4.
Is it okay if I showed like that I went from 4/5 10 minus x and I just switched around to x minus 10?
Yes.
Okay.
So step 2, we have to state what delta is. So we're letting our delta be our 5/4 epsilon.
Did you want us to put, absolute value of x minus 10 equals 5/4 epsilon or is less than 5/4 epsilon?
Oh. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. So then we restate the first part of the definition. If the absolute value of x minus 10 is less than delta, then the absolute value of our function minus -5, so plus 5. And now we have to work it out. Do not say the less than epsilon yet. That's what we are working towards. So we're basically repeating the same steps from above. So that would be -4/5 x plus 8. So then that would be x minus 10. Take the absolute value of -4/5, it's a positive 4/5. But we know that x minus 10, the absolute value of x minus 10 is less than delta. So 4/5 times that would have to be less than 4/5 delta. So we have our less than. And then we said delta, and that is epsilon. So success, we got there. I'm sure we were just lucky this time. Mm-hmm.
Did someone tell me to put 13 or did I put that extra?
You put 13.
Oh, I did not mean to.
We don't need 13. So the vertical is -3, and that you would just state.
Are we doing 14?
Uh-huh.
Then, oh, well then I'll
You
stay.
can do that. You do that disco boogie
Because
turnaround.
Okay.
I wanna be here for 14.
I thought like you were gonna puke or something if you were asking in the middle of me going over the study guide.
No, I
That's
just have to.
Wake up.
Horizontal. On your horizontal, you have to show me the limit as you approach positive infinity and the limit as you approach negative infinity. On both of those, to evaluate those limits, you would divide by your highest power of x, so take everything times 1 over x, and you get -1 both times, so then you have to state the horizontal is y equals -1. Do I need to work that out?
I didn't do that.
You have to give me the equation. for
Y
the horizontal.
equals, I put X equals.
Oh,
I put
vertical
x
x
equals.
equals, horizontal
Yeah.
y equals.
I mean, I fixed it with my red pen, but there was never an accident.
I
I
know
never
Y
anything.
equals.
Alright. 14. This is a beauty.
I loved it.
Oh, it
I loved
was.
working at this last night. I was like, I sound smart.
It was. And Carson explained it to me. It was beautiful as maybe synopsis.
I don't know if I even did it the right way.
Me and Carson did it two completely opposite ways. We got the same answer.
I did it my own way.
How do you always do that?
I'm on my own.
He's gonna come up with the Miller
Yeah,
theorem.
the Miller.
Miller
theorem.
Miller Law.
Has a nice tang too.
It's just Miller Law.
It sounds like you're gonna go somewhere that only drinks Miller Lite. Miller Law.
Okay, so if this is continuous, that means all of these pieces have to match, right? So, different places to start. Did I?
The first two.
Let me see something. I wrote in on mine. Okay. Sorry, my problem was originally different and I altered it, making sure that I gave you the altered one. So, we have to pick a place. Let's start, I don't know, do you want to find A or B first?
A.
Okay. So, we are on this piece when x is less than 2, right? And it's going to have to match up with the next piece if they're continuous, right? So, if x is less than 2, can I even just plug a 2 into that equation?
No.
No.
It's undefined.
It's undefined. Okay, so then what should we do?
Break it
Limit.
apart.
Oh, okay.
What do you mean with break it apart?
Factor.
Okay, so x squared minus 4 would be x plus 2.
See, I did half the Angela way and half the Carson way.
Okay, now
That's fire.
this piece, the x plus 2, has to equal the next piece, the a times x, when x is equal to what?
2.
To 2, in order for them to match up. So if I plug in a 2 for my x,
Oh,
Times 2.
so 4 equals 2a, so a has to be.
that's a little easier than what I did.
That was
Yeah.
easier
If
than
I-
when Angela explained it to me. Sorry, Angela.
Angela did take a really roundabout way
Sorry,
to
not
explain
sorry.
it.
If I just like kind of reasoned through it though, if I didn't like set them equal.
I'll look at it in a second.
I did
She
whatever
was telling me
Angela
some,
did,
like,
but
Put it where the hole is. Just imagine it's in the hole and
Yeah, but that's how it is though.
Yeah, but that
Yeah.
seeing just x plus 2 equals
That-
A.
that
Angela
was
sees the
easier.
lines. What can she say?
The b is in these two pieces. When do those pieces have to be equal?
3.
Okay, so bx squared minus bx plus 3 has to equal 2x plus b when
X equals 3.
x is 3. So if we plug in a 3, we get 9 minus 3b plus 3 equals 6 plus b. So we get 6 equals 4b, divide by 4, so b is 3 halves.
Yup.
That is easy.
So I looked at my thing. I
That's
did the
bad.
Carson way for about 30 seconds before I realized it was harder.